Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Now at 6 a.m. on your Monday, the search is on this morning for a man who police say held a customer at gunpoint during an overnight robbery this morning.
A man is in jail after his 5-year-old son was kidnapped.
And gearing up for Garth. Lexington city leaders planning for tens of thousands of concert goers, and they'll be announcing the plan this morning. Those stories and more, and breaking news as it happens, it's coming up on WKYT This Morning. Hey, top of the morning to you and welcome in. It's Monday, October 20th. We hope you had a fabulous weekend. Certainly a lot of nice sunshine yesterday. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. It's amazing what a little bit of that sunshine will do, even if it's cooler out.
I know. It just picks you up, doesn't it? All right. And so we had a good day yesterday. Looks to start off that way today, it sounds like. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris. Maybe, though, a little, something coming. We can see it there.
Yeah, exactly. You can see it there on First Alert Defender Live Radar. That's where we have that weak front to the north of us. But it's to the north of us, so we're staying mostly dry this morning. There are a few sprinkles now moving into the Owen County area, Henry, and then making your way to Grant. But for the most part, we're going to stay dry through the next several hours. Now, I'd say 9, maybe 10 a.m., that's when we start to see a few showers work their way into our viewing area. But for the most part, it's about the temperatures. 37 in Danville. Look towards, say, Marion, Lebanon, holding on to temperatures there in the 30s. Somerset coming out at 41 in Richmond. Lancaster this morning. Good morning, you guys in Gary County. We're right there in the lower 40s. By the afternoon, add about 20 degrees to that. It's pretty much where we sit. Low 60s. Those few showers around. Remember, these are light showers. You're not looking at extremely heavy rain nor thunderstorms. And that relentless cool air just is going to continue to roll on. I'll show you how chilly we go in the upcoming days in about 10 minutes.
All right, Micah, thank you. WKYT News tracking a crime alert this morning after a bold robbery at a Lexington gas station.
It happened overnight at the Speedway off Winchester Road near the interstate. Police say the suspect put a customer's life in danger. WKYT's Victor Puente is live at the scene with the details. Good morning, Victor.
Well, this was a pretty quick robbery. The officer out here at the scene told me the whole thing lasted less than a minute. Now, the Speedway is back open. It was closed for a couple of hours following that robbery. Around 2:45 this morning, police were called to this Speedway just off of I-75. They tell me a man wearing a large black coat with his face covered walked in with a gun. At that time, there was a female customer and a male employee inside. Police say that employee was putting food on the grill and the customer was talking to him. That robber made them both go up front at gunpoint, told that customer to get on her knees while the clerk gave him money from the register. He then ran around the back of the building. Now, police searched the area but couldn't find him. They tell me he had the hood of his coat pulled up and was either wearing a bandana or had that coat buttoned up all the way. Now, his face was so covered, police say they don't have a clear description of what he looked like, but they say they are looking at surveillance video to see if they can get any clues from that. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
All right, Victor, thank you very much. 6:03 on WKYT.
A Kentucky father is facing charges after police say he took his young son on a drug deal with him.
And it ended badly, with the father being attacked and his son being kidnapped. WKYT's Mark Barber is tracking this case live in Lexington, where the accused will be making his first court appearance later today. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Bill and Rebecca. William Hanks is scheduled to be arraigned today on a first-degree wanton endangerment charge after police say his son was kidnapped when he took him to a drug deal. According to investigators, early Saturday morning, Hanks took a prescription drug and then met several people in a car for multiple crack deals while he was with his 5-year-old son. An arrest citation states that the 30-year-old Georgetown father was under the influence to the point where he didn't know where his son was. Police say around 7 a.m., the 3 people in the car robbed Hanks, saying he didn't deserve his son. We're told they threw him out of the car on Winchester Road in Lexington. Officers say his son was found about an hour later, crying on Woodland Avenue near downtown Lexington. Investigators tell us the robbers left the boy with his father's driver's license, telling him to knock on doors for help. Police say the 5-year-old has been released from UK Hospital and is with his mother. Hanks is out of jail on a $5,000 bond. Now, we spoke with the man on the phone claiming to be Hanks. He says what police are saying is wrong and that he was not involved in a drug deal. He has agreed to an interview, and we hope to have more on his side of the story later today. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. Two people accused in a deadly eastern Kentucky shooting will be making their first court appearance today. State police have charged Christopher Payton with murder. Kimberly Payton is charged with complicity to commit murder. Investigators found Randy Williams dead last night inside his Morgan County home. This morning, police are searching for an escapee who is accused of seriously hurting a teenager in a crash. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says Terry Mullins escaped from home incarceration. He's facing assault and DUI charges. Last month, deputies say Mullins was drunk when he crashed his van into a 17-year-old who was riding a bike on US 25. The teen suffered serious injuries. Mullins will face more charges once he's found.
Police need your help finding a man accused of stealing from a Central Kentucky store. Franklin County Sheriff's deputies say this man seen here stole cash from the Triple R Mart on US 127. They say he stole the money from the manager's office during a cash deposit. Deputies say he was inside the store for less than 3 minutes. Today is bringing a sigh of relief to family and friends of Liberian Ebola patient Thomas Duncan.
Yeah, they have been confined under armed guard for 21 days to make sure that they hadn't contracted the deadly virus after coming in close contact with Duncan. But the maximum incubation period has now ended, and they are now free this morning. Duncan died earlier this month in a Texas hospital. The incubation period also has passed for about a dozen healthcare workers who encountered Duncan when he went to the Dallas hospital for the first time back on September 25th. Here in Kentucky, with just 2 weeks until the November election, a big week on the campaign trail. U.S. Senate candidate Allison Lundergan Grimes will be hosting former President Bill Clinton this week in western Kentucky. It will be Clinton's third trip to Kentucky to stump for Grimes. She was in Pike County over the weekend defending her position on coal during a rally with the United Mine Workers of America. Her challenger, of course, the one she's challenging, the incumbent Republican Mitch McConnell, kicking off a 3-day tour of coal country today. He's being joined by Congressman Andy Barr as well as Congressman Hal Rogers. Thomas Massey, the congressman from northern Kentucky, apparently along for part of the tour. The general election 2 weeks from tomorrow on November 4th. And before that, the excitement is building as country music superstar Garth Brooks is doing 4 shows in 2 days at Rupp Arena.
Today, city leaders will be talking logistics. Brooks will be in Lexington on October 31st and November 1st for 2 shows each night. More than 80,000 people are expected to be in town for the concerts. So plans for parking, transportation, and downtown entertainment options will be laid out later today. I'm sure a lot of traffic in that area that they have to contend with and plan for. Well, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and WKYT is teaming up with St. Elizabeth Healthcare to provide breast screenings.
And the mobile mammography van is going to be at WKYT tomorrow from 9:30 until 6:30. To make an appointment, you can call 859-655-7400. Private insurance will be billed. If you're uninsured, financial help is available thanks to a generous grant from Susan G. Coleman, Lexington, and certainly wonderful outreach and public service that we're proud to be part of here at WKYT.
Let's check now to see how traffic is moving on the roads.
The time is 8 minutes after 6, and let's go to Officer Don and check on live drive traffic. Good morning, Don.
Hey, good morning, gang. Of course, construction continues today, and Madison County, you know what you're dealing with there, coming in from Richmond and around the exit ramps as they continue to work between Lexington over to Berea. We're also seeing issues on Leestown Road as they continue with the project there. We did the lane shifting a couple of weeks ago, and in the afternoon that gets a little crazy. But right now we're okay. Let's get a look outside, and we'll show you what's happening as you plan to head out the door for work or school this morning here in the Lexington area. I-75-64 through the northern split. We're in great shape. No major issues there. We also checked the north side of town. Newtown Pike North Broadway looks okay. Russell Cave and the Circle is still one click of the light. As we check out the Waze map right now, we can see some live drivers on the way in, not reporting any problems. Inbound Nicholasville Road and on the interstate there, even the Circle approaching Richmond Road looks good. The biggest slowdowns right now appear to be inbound Nicholasville approaching South Point toward Man o' War there in that area. But other than that, we're okay. We'll keep an eye on things and keep you up to date throughout the morning. I'm back.
We know you will. We appreciate it. And Officer Don and Deanna on 98.1 The Bull with good music when you get in your car. Good to have you with us on WKYT this morning. We're just getting started. All the latest coming up.
The Walking Dead on Wheels. Coming up, a closer look at these ghoulish bike riding goblins.
And he almost busted. Did you guys just see that? He almost did. 39 degrees in Mount Sterling, 37 in Danville. It's pretty chilly this morning, and it looks like by the afternoon we'll warm up, but it's not going to be warm. And I'll show you that chilly forecast coming up.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Now at 6:30 on WKYT, we're tracking a crime alert after a woman was forced to the ground in an overnight robbery this morning.
Family and friends remember a young man killed in a Lexington shooting.
And some good news in the ongoing fight against Ebola. Well, of those stories and more, and breaking news as it happens, it's coming up on WKYT This Morning. Hello there, good morning and welcome. It's so good to have you with us. Monday, October 20th. Hope you had a fabulous weekend, ready to go on this new week. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. It was nice to not have too much rain for a while.
And sunshine. I mean, yesterday was beautiful, a little crisp, but it was really nice. We have some changes to go through this week before another good weekend. We'll look way ahead. Let's check in with Micah right now, who's tracking all that for us. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't think it's bad to actually look ahead to the weekend, no matter what day you're on. So it's all good. Yeah, toward the weekend. Looks pretty nice. We just got to get through today and tomorrow. I think those are your days that you could see some rain. There's some rain across the river to the north of us, and it'll slowly but surely make its way into the region. I'd say in the next 2 to 3 hours, starts to push in toward our western and northwestern zones. It's pretty chilly outside. Light coat will definitely be needed, especially for those kiddos heading off to the bus stop. Kind of to plan out your Monday, we go through the day. There will be a few showers. Remember, this is light rain. You could have some moderate rain here and there, but no really heavy downpours expected, no thunderstorms expected. So it's about the temperatures with a few showers, but it's when we move this stuff on out, we start to see some even cooler air. And I'll show you that forecast coming up.
All right, see you in a bit, and thank you. And here's the latest news.
We're tracking a crime alert after a bold robbery at a Lexington gas station.
It happened overnight at the Speedway off Winchester Road near I-75. Police say the suspect put a customer's life in danger. WKYT's Victor Puente is live at the scene now with the details. Victor, what do we know?
An officer I spoke to at the scene told me not only did this robber hold the clerk at gunpoint, he did it while there was a customer inside the store. Now, police were called around 2:45 to this Speedway near I-75. They tell me a man wearing a large black coat with his face covered came in with a gun in his hand. Now, there was a customer and an employee inside. Police say that employee was putting food on the grill and the customer was talking to him. That robber made them both go up front at gunpoint, told the customer to get on her knees while the clerk gave him money from the register. He then ran around the back of the building. Now, police searched the area, but they couldn't find him. They tell me they have surveillance video they're looking at, but it could be difficult to identify who this man was because he had the hood of his coat pulled up and was either wearing a bandana or had that coat buttoned up all the way. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
New this morning, 5 people are facing charges in a weekend burglary. State police arrested Jessica Middleton, Morgan Boggs, and 3 juveniles. Investigators say they stole more than $3,200 from the victim in the Loyal community of Harlan County. Police say they found a vehicle matching the description of the one used in the crime.
As police search for a killer, family and friends are remembering Lexington's latest homicide victim. 19-year-old Jeffrey Adams was shot to death Friday morning at an apartment on McCullough Drive. His family says they are too familiar with deadly violence in Lexington. They say Adams's cousin, Antonio Franklin, was murdered at Duncan Park back in April. And they also say the violence needs to stop.
Our teens are going too fast. I mean, everybody's life is not guaranteed, but don't take it. It's not ours to give. It's not ours to take.
No arrests have been made in this latest homicide case, and police are urging anyone who may have seen something to come forward. Lexington police have made an arrest after a different shooting in the same neighborhood. Police say 2 people were shot Friday night in an apartment on Winburn Drive. Investigators say a man and woman were both shot in the leg. They were treated at UK Hospital. Lexington police arrested Khalil Scarter near UK Hospital. They say he ran from the same car that was at the shooting scene. He is charged with fleeing and evading.
A Kentucky father is facing charges after police say he took his young son with him on a drug deal. It ended in not a good way, with the father being attacked and his son being kidnapped. WKYT's Mark Barber is tracking this case live in Lexington, where the accused will be making his first court appearance.
Good morning, Rebecca. Investigators say that William Hanks is charged with first-degree wanton endangerment because his 5-year-old son was kidnapped at a drug deal. Now, police tell us early Saturday morning, the 30-year-old Georgetown father took Xanax, a prescription drug, and then met several people in a car for multiple crack cocaine deals while he was with his boy. According to an arrest citation, Hanks was under the influence to the point where he didn't know where his son was. Police say around 7 a.m., the 3 people in the car robbed Hanks, choking him with a belt. We're told they threw him out of the car on Winchester Road in Lexington, saying he didn't deserve his son. Officers say the boy was found about an hour later when a woman on Woodland Avenue near downtown Lexington saw him crying on the sidewalk. Investigators tell us the robbers gave him his father's driver's license, telling him to get help by knocking on doors. Hanks is out of jail on a $5,000 bond. We spoke with the man claiming to be Hanks on the phone. He tells us police are wrong and he wasn't involved in a drug deal. He has agreed to an interview, so we hope to have more on his side of the story later today. As for the 5-year-old, police tell us he has been released from UK Hospital and is with his mother. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, thanks so much, Mark. A woman is in jail after police say her boyfriend jumped out of a moving car. The Boyle County Sheriff's Office says the man jumped out on US 150 near Perryville and was flown to UK Hospital. Deputies arrested the driver, Nancy Shook. She's charged with DUI.
A former Lexington mayor is in critical condition this morning after a weekend fishing trip. The Herald Leader reports that 84-year-old Foster Pettit was fishing when his boat capsized in the Louisiana Delta. He cut his leg, and that led quickly to a serious bacterial infection. He is in stable but critical condition at a Louisiana hospital. Pettit was Lexington's mayor from 1972 to 1978. A woman is recovering after a weekend hiking trip. Berea police say the woman fell about 40 feet in the Pinnacle Acres area near the Indian Fort Theater. She was alert when crews got to her, but she may have a broken ankle and other injuries. Today is a big day for those who had contact with the first Ebola patient diagnosed in the United States. Their quarantine expired this morning at midnight.
And the U.S. is ramping up its response to fight the spread of the disease here at home. Susan McGinnis has the latest.
The confinement is over for the fiancé of Thomas Eric Duncan, the Liberian man who was the first person diagnosed with Ebola in the U.S. Louise Troe and 3 family members are now free after being kept under armed guard in quarantine for 21 days. Duncan was staying at Troe's apartment when he first started showing symptoms of Ebola. Ebola is also no longer a threat for about 50 others who had some contact with Duncan.
It's been very difficult. You know, you've got this uncertainty that's hanging over your head about your own health. For some of them, a loved one has either died or is struggling to overcome the disease, and it's restricted their movement.
The U.S. continues to ramp up its response to Ebola. On Sunday, the Pentagon announced the formation of a special military support team to assist civilian medical staff here in the U.S. The CDC is also finalizing new safety protocols for healthcare workers.
They're going to be much more stringent in the sense of instructions about what you really need to do.
The new guidelines are expected to set firm standards, including full bodysuits and hoods that protect workers' necks, along with rigorous new rules for removal of equipment, disinfection, and supervision. 2 nurses who contracted Ebola while caring for Thomas Duncan are in stable condition. Susan McGinnis, CBS News, Washington.
More people who had contact with Duncan will be coming off the monitoring list every day. As for Lois Troe, she and her family will be moving to a new temporary rental home in a few days. Her pastor says the family is having a difficult time because people who are fearful of Ebola are reluctant to associate with them. Well, your chances of winning the lottery are about to get a little better. Today, the Kentucky Lottery will announce the launch of the Monopoly Millionaires Club. Instead of focusing on large jackpots, the new lottery game looks to create a large number of millionaires with each draw. It's the first new multi-state game launch in 12 years.
All right, we'll get those details on that later today. And a fixture in downtown Lexington is showing off a makeover. A new sign is now on top of the square, formerly known known as Victorian Square, right across from Triangle Park. Several new restaurants and stores will open in the redesigned space in the coming months. 2 retail stores have already opened up there, so you can't miss that sign. And construction continues at Lexington's Fayette Mall. Michael Kors opened over the weekend. More new shops are set to open before the holidays, including the Cheesecake Factory, which opens later this month. Leaders at Fayette Mall say parking has also been improved. 6:40 the time on WKYT this morning.
Let's check now to see how traffic is moving.
And here's Officer Don with that check on live drive traffic. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. Lots of construction happening on the interstate again today on 75 between Lexington and Richmond and over around the Madison County exit ramps, even toward Berea. For now, we're moving okay in those areas. Now, Leestown and the Circle, a little slow this morning, but we're working our way through that. No wrecks. Let's get a look outside, and we'll show you what's happening right now as you get ready to head out the door for work or school. We're off to a decent start on the interstate here in Lexington. And around town on our Waze map, we're showing the slowest traffic, Nicholasville and Manowar, coming up on Tates Creek Road at the Circle, and that left turn lane in the inner loop, and at Richmond, a new circle. But no surprises yet. We'll keep you up to date. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, we know you will, and we thank you. And it's 6:41 now. We have a lot more news coming up for you on this Monday morning on WKYT.
A former Kentucky Wildcat makes the highlight reel in the NFL, but the team's dry cleaner is crying foul.
Got a little hot dog on him. Who hasn't had a hot dog on him before? First Alert Defender Live Radar. We're staying dry this morning, but there is some rain. It's a very weak system. It's going to be rolling on through. I'll explain that forecast off towards your weekends. Never too early for that. It's coming up next.